you were in corporate America almost 10 years. Now, were you married when you started the business?
Yeah.
How was that conversation?
It's a lot of years of sacrifice. It's a while before you get cash flow positive. You have to have money in the bank and personal capital as well available.
Another skill set you have is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you have 6 best-selling books.
Yeah, I have those books. I have a new one that's just coming out this year on AI. It's the AI business playbook as well. My books don't make me any money.
What are you saying, let's say from 2026 to 2030 on what AI is going to do for your business, what AI is going to do for the workforce?
Anybody that's working on a computer is going to be at risk of losing their job or having to do something else.
Someone's looking at you saying, hey, I can't be Gene Marks. Like, how's he getting on Forbes? How's he doing this? How's he doing that? Like, advice or what inspiration would you give to younger folks that, they want to cast a bigger net? Welcome to Built to Scale with me, your host, Anthony Mongeluzo, and I am here with a longtime friend, I want to say media guru, public speaker, writer, a man that does it all, Gene Marks. So Gene, how are you doing today?
Anthony, it is great to speak with you. And you're right. You and I have known each other since we played together in the schoolyard, remember? And, bullied little kids when we were growing up. I'm just kidding. We didn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, obviously looking at us, we were the tough guys on the thing, right?
We're definitely built that way. No, I mean, God, we've known each other for so long. Fox 29, I think, is where we started, or maybe even before that. But yeah, you've been just a great person to know and a great partner. And I always refer work to you guys as well, because I know it'll be done competently. And you've just been a great guy to know over the past 20 plus years. So thanks for having me on.
No, and likewise. I mean, one thing I do have to say to everyone is, Gene, you've been so generous. Like I've always been like the Fox 29 guy. And, I got a couple plays at National, did a few things, but you've always brought me into, a lot of your articles, a lot of your entrepreneurship work. And, it's something I always appreciated, because you have such a wit about you when you write these things. So it's cool to be featured, but it's a little bit more fun when you have someone that's fun to work with, talk to, and, you could kind of let loose. So
I agree. But I do want to throw it back to you, say I would not be going out to you for commentary or advice or opinions for the articles I write if you didn't know what you were doing. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, please, it's both ways. It's it's not, I love you. You've been a friend for many years, but if I didn't think that were given, genuine information or legitimate help, we wouldn't be doing that. So it's because of you. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's go back to the, I don't say the beginning, but kind of the beginning. So you were at, I think, KPMG, right? Because you're a CPA by trade, and I remember you mid-90s in KPMG.
Yeah, can you figure it out by looking at this face? Is that
you're looking younger? You're looking younger. Well,
big spoiler. So yeah, I am a certified public accountant. I spent 9 years at KPMG in Philly. I was controller at a publicly held company for a couple of years. I learned that I was a terrible accountant. For me, if it's close enough, it's good enough. And that's not exactly what you want for your accountant, So I learned that. At KPMG was good because we audited big multinational companies. And I don't know how familiar you are with these audits of these big four firms, but if you're $1 million off on something, it was usually immaterial and nobody really cared. And that was perfect for me, because I was often $1 million off on many things. Anyway, really enjoyed it, but decided to leave there. My wife is from England. We got married with 3 little kids under the age of 1, and just you really do commit a lot when you go and work for a big four firm. I love the experience and would recommend it, but you do commit a lot, So I was a corporate controller for a couple of years, but then I started my own business back in the mid 90s with my dad. And my dad at the time was developing the world's worst accounting software. It was this, we can talk technology, Anthony, and you're old enough to remember, it was a DOS-based accounting software that came out when QuickBooks was starting to hit its stride. And then he ran out of money and it wasn't working very well. And we got together, he would send me out on jobs for all the things the software didn't do. He'd be like, well, yeah, Gene, he'll do it for you. That's the way, right? And then the best thing in the world ever happened, which was the year 2000. We were all expecting planes to fall out of the sky and buildings to topple over. And because remember, it's the 2 digits in the software, right? It had to be 4 digits, 1999, and then 2000.
It's going to crash. Everything's going to be done.
Well, as it turns out, it was my father's software that stopped working because
no.
of course it was the 2-digit issue because it was the world's worst software. And, but we knew it, we saw it coming a year in advance. And so we started reselling other products, and we got into sort of the contact management CRM space and some accounting products, Goldmine software back in the day.
Goldmine, yeah.
Yeah,
Goldmine
and
Act.
Yep, Act and all that, and then that evolved into other CRM software. And so since then, my father passed away in 2005, and I took it all over, and it was just me and him back then. But now we've had 10 people for the past 10, 15 years, and it's a good, solid technology consulting firm that I've built, and it's gone through different iterations. But we still primarily sell CRM software, but we are going to make some changes over the next few years to evolve even away from that. Given AI and all of that. And I'm really excited about that kind of stuff as well.
That's something I want to pick your brain on, and I want you to share your mind on that. But real quick, going back, so you were in corporate America almost 10 years. Now, were you married when you started the business?
Yeah.
How was that conversation like? Like, hey, I'm going to go from making a nice guaranteed living with benefits to, me and my dad are going to go have some fun. How'd that go?
So that's such a great question, because whenever people talk about starting up a business, one of the first things I always say, like, man, you better check with your significant other before you jump into this. Because I'm sure you had the same issue, right? I mean, it's a lot of years of sacrifice. It's a while before you get cash flow positive. You have to have money in the bank and personal capital as well available. So great question. I mean, I had long conversations with my wife. My wife and I, we've been married 35 years now. We're super close. We both knew going into it, like, if I stayed with KPMG, Anthony, I would have made a lot of money and done a lot of great things. I would have seen her 70% less than I've seen her over the past 35 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are some relationships that are great with that. In fact, even better with that.
Right.
My wife came over from England, and she was like, I don't want you to be, traveling all over, like, for months at a time and being away, or when I have kids, we don't want to move from city to city because you get reassigned places. We made that decision together. And then when we started up the business, we had enough savings to support ourselves for a couple of years until things, went. And she was good with all of that. The key was, Anthony, and it's like a little bit different than you. I mean, you've got great skills as an IT person. I did have a CPA license, and one of my kids is also a CPA, PwC.
That's cool.
And the argument is, if we ever go belly up, if things are whatever, I can always hang a shingle.
Right.
And I'll put food on the table. You're not gonna have to worry about that.
You still have an underlying desirable skill set.
Exactly.
You were able to, and which is great, because that lets you go without the net. So another skill set you have is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you have 6 best-selling books.
Yeah, best-selling. Stop.
That's what I read. I thought they were best-selling.
Maybe I have to talk to my PR person. Okay, Anthony, they're best-selling.
I'll be your PR person.
Yes, I'm the best-selling books in all of Guyana. Okay, so very popular there. I have those books. I have a new one that's just coming out this year on AI. It's the AI business playbook as well. My books don't make me any money, Anthony. Anybody wants to, that's a whole other conversation. We could talk about book publishing. The reason why I do books is there's 2 ways that you can make money from creating books. And this is for you if you ever want to think about doing it. One is they're a great prop for a speaking career.
That's what I was going to say. It gives you credibility, because how many people do you know that wrote a book? Yeah. And I think that's a separator.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you want to go out and speak. People do look like that. Look for that. You're not even selling a lot of books at these speaking gigs, but it's just a good prop. So that's one way. The other is corporate. Like this book that I wrote. If you look at it, I wrote the whole book. It's actually from a lot of my Forbes columns, but then add additional material. But you know what I did? I sold it to Cox Communications. Oh, okay. And Cox Communications are not big in the Philly area where you and I are, but they're big out in the Midwest. And they're making a play for their smaller and mid-sized customers about technology and AI. And they bought the book from me, as well as some other services. Like, we're going to do a media tour and a webinar and all that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then they'll then use it and give it or sell it to their customers. And so they were like a built-in buyer with a built-in audience that would read the book. You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's my advice to a lot of people when they want to write books. Like, you either use it for a prop, or if you can find a corporate customer to buy it from you, or an organization to get it from you, that's why the academics, professors in colleges, they they make they write a book and then they sell it to their students. You know
For
what I
like
mean?
$9,000 a book.
Exactly. That's the way to go.
So let's tell people about your core business. You have about 10 team members.
Yeah.
You're really heavily in the CRM
Sure.
space,
Yep.
and I want to really leverage this conversation to see, okay, this is the service you've been doing since the mid '90s, so to speak, and then let's add a little sizzle with AI, where you see things going. Because I got to tell you, I'm terrified, but I want to hear what you. So let everyone know what you do first, and obviously how you help businesses, consulting, business, and really everything all in the cake.
So for starters, I just sent a piece into the Hill about corporate employees and how they better get their act together and be valuable, because AI is going to replace many people that sit in front of a computer. That's number one. Number two is my core business. We implement 4 CRM applications: Zoho, Salesforce, Dynamics, and HubSpot. Our main focus is Zoho, though. We have like about 600 active clients, and more than half of them are Zoho clients. We make money, a little tiny bit of money from selling the software. We resell it. And our money is services, like you know what I mean? So, we charge, we're in the $200 an hour range for services, and we provide all services under God for our CRM products. We set it up, we implement it, we train, we customize, we integrate, all that kind of stuff, migrate data and all that. So it's great. So we have, at any given time, as you and I are talking right now, we've got like, I don't know, maybe like 20 open projects, small and mid-sized companies all around the country. They're like, we like Zoho. We don't know how to implement it in our company. We're going to pay you by the hour to get us using Zoho and successfully, so that we can be good with it, and that's really been the core business I've had for the past 20 years. And it's fun and it's good. It's more fun than accounting. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. The other thing is too, like the cool thing is like, you get to do this a little bit more than we do, but when you solve business problems, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
To get the flow working. I mean, I don't know, for like, some people like to play basketball, football, whatever. Like for me, like business is a sport. Like, how do we get to that game? How do we get that result? Like, I want to spike the ball with a good project.
I agree, but you know what? Don't discount yourself, Anthony. Like everybody, when you read in the media about businesses and business owners, and like, they love to, they love to talk about organic coffee shop owner, or the sustainable materials business, or the nonprofit that's helping kids to read. And that's all great, but like, your firm provides critical IT services and applications to many companies who need your services to be sustainable and then grow. And in your own little way, you're helping these companies be sustainable and grow. And these companies, they have their own employees. They buy from other companies who also have employees. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything we do has purpose, and what we all do as businesses has purpose. It's not very sexy. You know what I mean? It's not something you're going to see on the news at night. But without what your firm does, your clients would not be doing things as well. They would not be as profitable or successful, and therefore there are people that would be affected because of this. So,
you know what? It's funny you say that. There was probably one time in my life that I felt very valuable, and it was when COVID hit.
Yeah.
The call, like, we were picking up, I kid you not, just at headquarters, probably 2,000 calls a day, because, we had to get really, really hyperactive with setting people up with remote access, right? And you didn't know how long it was going to be. And it's like, oh my God, like, hey, the work that we do really matters, because if these folks can't get to their systems, if these folks can't work, not only do our clients suffer and their clients suffer, but if we're not doing the right job, where they're not making money, they got to lay off people. So it is a big snowball, and it's something you don't. And I guess the good thing is you don't think about it too often, because I'd rather be thinking about working and growing and doing all that stuff. But it was nice to, like, for that moment in time, like, wow, we can really help people when it matters the most.
100%. And it gets back to any organization, any employee at an organization. If people are looking for purpose in their lives, we all have to understand that we're all doing a little bit of part to help, to help the world. We're not changing the world in a big way, and like just us, you and me individually, but we are helping, and that's really good. And the COVID example is a great example of doing just that. And you've got employees that at these companies that they have jobs. And by the way, even today, They're employees that
Yeah.
I'm sure many of your customers, many of your clients that are working from home, for example, are working remotely. They get to spend more time with their kids or a loved
Oh
one
yeah.
or sick parents or whatever because of you, because you've set them up to do that. So
Yeah, that's changed a lot with the work from home. Even here, I mean, I joke around when I'm upstairs. We have about 5,500 square feet on the second floor.
yeah,
I think on Mondays and Fridays, I might have 3 people up there. I mean,
yeah,
it's the most
yeah,
spacious living. So
yeah.
speaking of people, so we got your business. You just sent me. I didn't get to fully read it yet. It was 191 pages on a compilation of what you've written on AI. So what are you seeing? Let's say from 2026 to 2030
Hmm.
on what AI is going to do for your business, what AI is going to do for the workforce, and I'll add a little extra. Like I'm down the rabbit hole because I have a Tesla and I just watch the car keep updating and getting
Yeah,
smarter over the
yeah.
last 18 months. What do you think the industry wide? Because when these taxis or robocabs come out, that's going to impact Uber and Lyft. Like where are you just seeing? Like just give me your thoughts on AI as a whole.
So first of all, on when we talk about it changing people, we are at the very, very early stage. There's a
Yes.
lot of hype and there's a lot of reality. The people that work with their hands and are in jobs like pipe fitters and plumbers and electricians and drywall people, whatever, robots are not coming for their jobs anytime soon. I know that. I've seen the robots. The technology is evolving, but we're a decade away at least before that happening. So that's a conversation future Gene and Anthony can have. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But in a pretty short amount of time, anybody that's working on a computer is going to be at risk of losing their job or having to do something else. Because if AI is a digital thing, it's a software thing. Agents are now beginning to roll out. They're not very good. They're not completely accurate. You really can't rely on them yet. But it's almost like when the cloud was rolling out 15 years ago, when mobile applications were rolling out. It was early days. You didn't trust it, and then it's like bulletproof now for the most part.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was like voice over IP. 25 years ago, voice over IP was terrible. Now you don't have anything but voice over IP.
You don't even, and you know what the best example I'm going to give you right now is there are corporations are spending billions of dollars on AI. That's what I've been covering in Forbes, and 95% of their projects are failures, but 5% of them are not failures. Some are having some success in the customer service realm, some of them in the technology realm, writing applications, having AI do all that kind of stuff. So we're just getting into that. So businesses your size, my size, aren't super affected by it yet. But here's what I'm seeing in the real world. There's a couple different places. Office and Google Workspace is now rolling out AI functionality that is starting to work pretty well for creating PowerPoint, searching files. The AI assistants. There should not be a single, a business owner in this country that does not cough up $20 a month for their preferred AI assistant. I mean, I use ChatGPT. I might change. Maybe it's Claude. Maybe it's
I'm super Gronk.
Grok is great. Grok
It really is.
Really enjoy Grok. So I've got all of this, and if you're running a company, there should not be a document, an agreement, a contract, a quote, a bid, nothing that leaves your company should leave your company without first being ran by your AI assistant for comments and to polish it up.
And I'll be honest, I used to feel guilty when I first did it. I felt like I was cheating. And guess what? The entire world is doing it now.
We're doing it. And then, it's not 100%. So you run it by, it gives you comments. You run it by your experts. You have humans involved.
Right.
But it's another expert human to do it. This morning, I wrote this piece on corporations. Now they're laying off all these people. And this is for The Hill. And I wanted to give about 8 examples of companies that laid off a bunch of people in 2023 and yet showed more revenues and profits in 2024. Okay. And I leaned on ChatGPT and their deep research to do that. It would have taken me all day to research it. ChatGPT did it for me in under an hour with different iterations.
It's like when we were kids, right? You had a project at school, you'd go to the library, you get the Xerox thing and all that. Yeah. And then it moved on. Hey, we don't need to go to the library. We're going to go on this thing called Google. And it's just really an evolution. And, one of the things that we talk about, me and Veronica in here is, before it used to be, how do we get on the top of Google for the search engine? It's like, now, how do we get AI to say that we're the best IT company, Yep.
Yeah. And that is, so there's good. You bring up, one of the many implications that AI is going to bring. Search is going to change entirely.
Yes.
OpenAI has already said they're going to start selling ads, which raises questions like, well, if I'm getting an answer on OpenAI, is that really the right answer? Or is that just coming from like a sponsor?
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's all of that. The video creation you've seen on Grok is unbelievable.
It's insane.
And that excites me because I think, Anthony, you've got hundreds of countless kids around the country at Tyler Art School, at Temple in Philly, that have stories to tell, that nobody funds them. And yet they can use Grok and other cheap AI tools to tell their stories. And that will create incredible content going forward. And by the way, that content will need production companies to do, which will need marketing people, finance people. Like, it's not all going to be you push a button and it gets done. There will be more ups, So I think that's where it's all going. You asked about like how it'll affect like my business. So we're talking today, it's early February. Just this past week, the stock market, a lot of tech companies, the software companies were hit significantly because both Anthropic and OpenAI are launching new tools in AI to create software really easily without any programming experience. Yeah. So people are like, well, why am I paying all this money at Salesforce.com if I can just create my own, And I'll tell you what I think the opportunity is for companies like you and me is I can speak for myself. We deal primarily with small and mid-sized companies, generally people with a few hundred employees, right? As great as Anthropic sounds and as OpenAI and creating your own applications and all that, they're not going to do that. I mean, my clients are like roofers and drywall people, and they want to take advantage, but they're going to need you and me to do that for them,
Yeah.
And
I could go on YouTube and learn how to fix a toilet. I'm just not going to do it.
Thank you. That's exactly my point. You know what I mean? Like, I could go out and mow my lawn when I had a lawn, but I know I hire a landscaper to do it because I'm just going to screw it up anyway. And and I got other things to do. So for people like you and me, we can help our clients, right? That's number one, way more affordably than ever before. Secondly, like, I don't have to sell them Zoho anymore or Dynamics. I go to a client and they're like, yeah, we want a CRM system. We needed to do X, Y, and Z. We needed to have these reports. We needed to have this kind of functionality. And like, we'll say like, that's great. Give us like a couple of weeks and we'll create that for you. Because then I'll just go to Claude or OpenAI or any of the other, it's called vibe coding, right? I mean, I'm going to sit down or not me, because I'm a moron. I'm going to have somebody else do it.
Exactly. Me too.
We'll create applications for our clients, and it'll be on platforms that can be supported by anybody. So people aren't, they don't have to feel like they're like required to, use us going forward. Hopefully they will, but we won't be limited by the software that we send. And no offense on these software vendors, but I hate them all. They never give us leads. They, every time they come up with new changes to their partner program, it's never a good change for the partners. You know what I mean? They have support issues. It's all that. Now it's like, geez, I mean, we could be master of our own domains and deliver exact solutions for our clients that they really want. And I don't have to hire some $200,000 a year developer to do it because it's become that much. I think that's a huge opportunity for us. Like, I see it in the not too distant future when you and I talk again, you're like, what does your company do? I'll be like, yeah, I mean, we sell CRM software to some people, but our main job is we create solutions to help our clients do things quicker, better, and wiser. And we just, you tell us what you need, and we'll use AI tools to do that.
It's going to be funny. I mean, like any industry change, right? There's going to be a lot of people that make millions off of this, and the ones that are the first adopters and the ones that are, really smart enough to leverage it for what it is, understand its flaws and use it. I'll tell you one thing, and then we'll go into rapid fire. So as you said, it's February right now because our episodes typically air a couple months behind. Moltbox has been a little, little crazy with that one, with the robots wanting to kill us. And
Moltbook.
Some of those, Moltbook. Sorry, Moltbook.
Yeah.
And that thing's a little insane.
For those of you guys that are watching or listening to this, so Moltbook is like a Reddit for AI agents.
Yep.
And you can put an agent on, and the agents will just talk to each other and do things and mimic humans and make fun of humans and then do all sorts of things. And it's terrifying people because it's just like the agents are just doing this. And it's like scaring them. Meanwhile, there is a reality behind that hype, okay? Because the hype is that we're doomed. It's Terminator. They're going to take over the world. For starters, apparently there's a lot of humans on that platform. They're doing some stuff.
That's funny. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So you can post on it as well. And I think there's a lot, because it's the internet. So there's a lot of human getting up to some mischief on there as well. So there's that. Yep. And number two is all they're doing is they are simulating human behavior. Like, they're
very human-like.
They are very human-like.
Yeah.
Because they're simulating human behavior.
Because they're getting trained. The one that cracked me up the most was an AI agent apparently got banned from the site for, I guess, improper behavior. The AI agent then went on X, created an account, found the creator of that package, and begged to get reinstated.
Right.
That's
So
kind of,
I did not read that story. Maybe it's true. I do warn you that maybe it's not true. It depends, on if a human
yeah.
was somewhere beyond that. But yeah, that stuff could happen. The things that are really interest me is on mobile, like you can have your agent, if you want to open up a crypto account and put $500 worth of crypto in there, and then you say to your agent, with all the vast knowledge of human history, take this $500 and invest it in stocks. I'll give you access to a stock account, to an online whatever. Go and make me money. And there are people that are giving the authority to agents to just go out there and invest on their behalf. And these agents, I mean, no offense, but they can invest a lot better than you and me, right? They're just that much smarter. And I'm thinking, like, that's an interesting.
Well, I guess what? It's funny you say that. I asked at the gym probably about a month ago, I asked Super Grok, I said, listen, if I had $100 to invest in 5 companies and the next year I want to sell, so I don't want to pay short-term capital gains, what 5 stocks should I get? So I invested in those stocks. One was Palantir, one was the Taiwanese semiconductor company. And with my trainer, I have a follow-up email that came to the first month, 6 months, and a year. So we're going to see how we land. But I can tell you the returns have been pretty good so far.
Well, I think the next iteration of that is not just doing the Gen AI route where you're asking the question and it's telling you, good, invest in Palantir or whatever. But you do the agentic AI approach and say, like, here's some money, you go and do the investing. You don't even check with me. I'll check with the statements and we'll see how you're doing. And then you have the power to buy and sell as you need to buy and sell. So we don't have to sit there and wait to see how you do 6 months. Maybe you sold everything in 2 months. You know what I mean?
I'll give you a crazy one, and then we'll go into a rapid fire. So a friend of mine, he's a mathematician, and he's a software developer. Well, we gave him some old computers, and I don't know the full thing behind it, but he basically built algorithms with cryptocurrency that basically every time he would figure out what coins had enough market cap that he could sell, and this is all the stuff that he programmed in. And let's say Bitcoin was $1, and then it went to $1.10. He would keep raising the floor. So, okay, $1.05. Well, now it hits $1.20. If something dropped more than 3%, he sold it.
Yeah.
Well, this machine executed thousands and thousands of trades.
Yeah.
To the point where he turned like $100,000 into like 800,000.
Wow.
The IRS came to his door. They thought he was doing something illegal, which he wasn't. He had to export all the trades that he did. The IRS's system couldn't even do it. So they worked out a number that he owed on taxes. But again, that's a little bit more human ingenuity. But AI, like this is like 3-4 years ago. So quote unquote, AI didn't exist in the form that it does now. So
that's
crazy stuff.
The issue that I have with that is that, like, I would need to hire a developer to do that. And those guys are all homicidal maniacs. So I don't even know if I can trust any developer to write something without them just hacking into it and stealing all my money.
At least he did it for himself, right? So let's do some rapid fire, and then we'll get to close. So who's your business hero? You do all this writing, all these magazines. Who inspired you?
Elon Musk is now my current business hero. I think he is, regardless of how you feel about him politically. Yep. I think he is an absolute inspiration. I listen to a lot of interviews with him involved because he's incredible. He's incredible. I mean, you could even it'd be interesting to be in his head for a moment. Like you could see when he's almost like a computer. When he answers a question, everything's thoughtful. And to that point, when you hear him interviewed, it is not uncommon somebody asking him a question and like 10 seconds will go by in silence while he's processing.
Yep.
And then he gives an answer. And I just think I can't believe I'm walking on earth now with a guy like that who's also walking on the earth. You know what I mean? Like it's just
I've met some really cool people in my life, and he's a bucket list guy for me. Yeah. How about who's personal hero?
My personal, that's it. I mean, it's always been a good question because there are a lot of people that I know personally that have had a big impact on my life, but I can't say it's any one person, Anthony. I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of good friends that have done a lot of great things, and I don't actually just want to single one person out because I think it'll discount other people. But just generally though, my personal heroes are people that are happy and upbeat people.
Yep.
And
you need good energy.
Without naming names, I've been friendly and coached Little League with a guy who was actually the CEO of a large law firm in Philadelphia now. And he was a big up and coming partner during the day, never missed a practice, never missed a game.
Love that.
In a very high stress. And he taught me one huge lesson, which was whenever somebody comes to me with a problem or something to do, my first thought is, who's going to do this for me? He's like a master manager and delegator. And that had a big personal impact on me 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. So I'll give you one last one. If your coworkers, your team members, if they had one word to describe you, what word would they use?
Fair, I would hope they would.
Guess
say.
what? Fair is great. Being fair is too uncommon these days. So I love that. So cool. So we're going to wrap up here, but what I always like to do just before we close down, right? There's, you've been in business for yourself, over 30 years, right? 25 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, look, we're all scared every day, right? But I think it's fair to say that you made it. You've really accomplished a lot in the media scene with TV presence, writing. Someone's looking at you saying, "Hey, I can't be Gene Marks. Like, how's he getting on Forbes? How's he doing this? How's he doing that?" Like, you were always Gene Marks, but you weren't the media presence and everything else. So what advice or what inspiration would you give to younger folks that, they want to cast a bigger net?
I would, I only learned this recently, Anthony, and I wish I knew this, 30 years ago. Okay. Ask yourself who you want to help and help them. You know what I mean? Like if I just known, 20 years ago that I want to help small companies, succeed, like I'm all about just whatever I can do to help small companies. It would have focused me more. It would have helped me get through the ups and downs of successes and failures and all the peaks and valleys, of running a business. I think if you just, if you say to your life, you have a short term here on earth, what is your purpose? Who do you want to help? And by doing that, you're solving their problems and you give yourself focus. That will see you through a lot of good times and bad times over the years. And that's the advice I would be given to a younger person.
And you know what? That's great advice. I mean, I hate to say it. I think the older that we get, the more you really figure out your purpose and what you want to leave behind. Because look, when we're in our 20s, it's all about being successful, getting married, having kids, and
making money.
Yeah. And then, when you start doing math in your head, it's like for me, it's like, okay, well, I'm 45. Let's be nice and say life expectancy is 90, which we know it's not. It's 78. It's like, man, in theory, I'm 50% over my my warranty here getting there. So that's great advice, and I hope people take it. So Gene, thank you so much for making the time. Thank you for coming on.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing the story. And then for everyone watching, we're going to continue to have great entrepreneurs, people that inspire you, just like Gene, on Built to Scale with me, Anthony Mongeluzo. So I hope you tune in again next time. Thanks so much.